Spiker, what was the turning point in this one?
Pat is in playoff mode. And the seminal thing that I see from Patrick Mahomes, especially when they get into the playoffs, is there is no hesitation in him taking off with his legs. I know we're going to talk about the run game 30 times, but he was decisive in going pick up first downs. And I think this is a sense of urgency to the rest of his team that every single down, every single drive, every single third, second down is a critical play in the game, and you can see his sense of urgency by how he used his legs. Now, people are going to look at it and say it's 4 rushes for 30 yards. It's when those rushes happen and the critical times in which he needed first downs to extend drives. And I talk about this every year since we've been on TV, about Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. He reminds people that he's a true dual-threat quarterback. And I know his arm is phenomenal, and we've talked about the receivers being there and all of that. His legs are as effective and as back-breaking when they have to have games than anything else associated with the Kansas City Chiefs.
There might be no quarterback you'd rather have in that moment, in that spot, than Patrick Mahomes. I look at this. They're down 20-9 at home, and they're 5-5. The season looking at an under 500 record, and Kareem Hunt fumbles the ball in a crucial play here. And this could have been it. They could have said, all right, this is just not our year. It's things like this don't happen to us. Instead, they get to the sideline, and watch Kelsey here. He grabs him, and then he's like, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening. Kelsey comes back at him, though, and says, hey, we need you. We need you here. In the timeout, I'm told Chris Jones looked to the crowd and got the crowd going. From that point forward, they absolutely rolled. The defense stepped up, and it might have changed their entire season. There's something about this group that they weren't willing to just let the season go into the ether. They weren't willing to just say, okay, the run game, let us down again. We're just going to. No, they committed to the run. And I love the veteran leadership that found a way to lift those other guys up when they need them.
Well, I think that's because this team doesn't want to die. They don't know what it's like to be home when the playoff season starts. And if you look at that fourth quarter, even after that play, there were huge third downs by Steve Spagnuolo with pressuring the quarterback. But on the other side of that, Kareem Hunt was a part of this game. They did consistently call the run, even if it wasn't working in the way or the manner that they wanted. When we've seen Matt Nagy and Andy Reid abandon that part of the game. And, let's be honest, it got late and they went to players. We talked for the first 6 weeks of the season about what Rashee Rice meant to this team and what we saw at the end of his rookie year as they won a Super Bowl. We got to see that yesterday. We saw Patrick Mahomes trust him, and time after time in one-on-one situations, he was the better man facing the guy on the Indianapolis Colts.
I thought early on it was a lot of patience, and then late it was precision. You know, the patience you guys have talked about, the get under center, we're running the football. We're not calling RPOs. You're gonna turn around and hand the ball off. And then it was patience to find some check downs, and then it was the precision versus man coverage of, okay, if we're going to beat man coverage, let's just not run verticals. This is a two-pointer to make it 2017. Number one, you get a little shuffle motion by the tight end. RC, they're getting in and out, right? The nickel and the safety are getting in and out. Well, now the back comes from the backside. Once he does that, that nickel picks up the back, but he passed off Rashee Rice to the safety. Rice gets to the safety, breaks back out. I absolutely love that play design and being on the same page. And this is that 4th and 3. So 4-by-1 formation.
Season on the line.
Right, season on the line. You're going to get motion. Defender follows. It's man-to-man. Now, this is outstanding by Rashee Rice. You understand you got to beat your guy, but the guy that's in between the hashes is covering the back. This is why where you send the back matters. Back crosses away. That is to bring the safety out of that void. Rashee Rice realizes it, sets Mooney Ward. 4th and 3, shallow cross. Everybody's running away from somebody on that defense, and it's an easy throw and catch, but a huge conversion. I saw you tweet it yesterday, like the drags and crosses were killing.
Well, the other piece of it is this, though, too, Dan. The part about that play that makes it so difficult is where the back starts. If the back starts on the opposite side, if I'm Nick Cross, the safety, I'm communicating right now with Charvarius Ward because I'm involved in the bunch. By starting him on the opposite side, now there's no communication between the two players, and that's when you see the collision and Charvarius Ward fall.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, beating man coverage again and again and staying patient despite the deficit. But can we please, Mina Kimes, give some credit to that defense? How did they get it done, shutting the Colts down?
Yeah, I think given the level of competition, this was their most impressive performance of the entire season. A couple things that jumped out to me. One was the future Hall of Famer, Chris Jones, flipping the switch in the second half, whether he was lined up at 3-tech around the edge, multiple drives where he took over, consistently winning. I thought he was excellent against the run along with those linebackers as well. And then the other thing that jumped out was Steve Spagnuolo really turned up the heat in the second half, and when they blitzed, I was really impressed by how pressure and coverage worked together. On 7 blitzes, Daniel Jones had 3 incompletions and 4 passes, all caught short of the sticks. And this Colts team is not easy to tackle, but time and time again, it felt like Chiefs cornerbacks and safeties made those tackles in the open field. Very successful, and the most Chiefs-like this defense has looked in quite some time.
It's funny. Chiefs need to win. The guys who had the best days, Spags, Chris Jones,
All the,
Kelsey,
the ones that you
Patrick.
rely on again and again.
Could you imagine
They
picking
came
against them in
through.
this game?
Man, we're going to talk about
Good heart.
this too. They have a huge game coming up this week. We have Kansas City and Dallas, by the way, both on Thanksgiving, both 10th in their respective conferences. Eagles led this game by 21 points, tied for the largest blown lead by a defending Super Bowl champion all time. Isn't it crazy? Bucks lost to Peyton Manning-led Colts back in 2003 on Monday Night Football after leading by 21 points in that contest. All right, this Cowboys offense, let's talk about it. They've been getting it done all season, but what impressed you the most in that comeback?
I know it's the Monday after, and we're prone to hyperbole, and we do the exact. I think I'm going to go with Clarence Hill, the writer down in Dallas. This is the biggest regular season win that Dak Prescott's ever had. The season was on the line. They're down 21-0 against a division rival, and we're looking at the shadow of what they've had to overcome this season, both on the field and off the field, which was an incredible tragedy. And then what's ahead when you've got Kansas City in 4 days, and then, of course, the Lions following Thursday, and they had to find a way. And Dak Prescott said, put it on me. Put it on me. I'll find a way. We'll get it done. I thought Dak was sensational. 354 yards, completed 23 of 36 passes, 2 touchdowns, and, of course, the rushing touchdown. But with what was at stake, if they lose this game, all right, we're probably not going to the playoffs. Then we got these 2 national games, and it could be an embarrassment. If they find a way to win this game, well, then there's hope, and the hope is eternal right now. What an inspirational victory, and I thought Dak Prescott was a fabulous leader despite the odds, and then being down 21-0 against the defending champions.
Yeah, he is in many ways doing for George Pickens what Russell Wilson couldn't, making him a true number 1 receiver. I think the final 2 throws of Dak kind of encapsulate a lot of Dak's career and certainly the moment that you're talking about yesterday. You get to the 3rd and 2 in the different ways in comparison to what Philly did. So 3rd and 2, 1, control the line of scrimmage. 5-0. 5-0 means 5 guys across on the offensive line, block the 5 guys on the defensive line. Motion down. This is a great route by Ferg. It's called the stair step. Runaway versus man coverage. Pressure off that safety. That's a 3rd and 2 conversion. Probably in field goal range, but certainly not feeling great about it. George by himself. That's been the story really of the last 6 or 7 weeks. Motion over, snap it right now. Now, when he motions, I love the fact that George is aware that Carter is following, so he kind of waits and sets Quinyon Mitchell and Carter bang right there. And that's the awareness of that wide receiver to understand motion coming across with a trailing defender. I'll free myself up. It's a beautiful connection between Dak Prescott. George Pickens was always, for me, a guy that, hey, one-on-one, throw him a go ball. He's become so much more than that. I mean, the route running, the awareness, the intelligence, the physical, the toughness, on top of what we've seen in the past, I think he's just become an incredibly complete receiver this year.
In a contract year.
Yes.
You know?
Shocking.
Yeah. I love that point about Dak and Pickens, Stan, because so much of this game he was producing on in-breakers, which the quarterbacks in Pittsburgh would not throw. And he is so unbelievable at them because he's got that big frame and then the ability, which is very unusual at his size, to get yards after the catch. I think with Pickens, he's so important in this particular win because when you think about how well this Eagles defense has been playing and they've been fantastic, the problem is Dallas simply has the number of receivers where the Quinyon Mitchell can get taken out of the game. I mean, George Pickens, most of his production came against either Adoree Jackson or Cooper DeJean. The final one was where Mitchell was picked. And when CeeDee Lamb got matched up with DeJean outside after Jackson went out, he beat him down the field. I say this to emphasize that there are very few teams in the NFL with that depth at the wide receiver position to attack Philadelphia the way Dallas just did. It's an unusually bad matchup for them because of that group.
3 summers ago, I said I thought that George Pickens was more talented than Justin Jefferson. I thought his physical tools and traits were greater. And everybody for the last few years were like, hell no, look at George Pickens. And this is what I was talking about. The ability to win one-on-one, the physicality, the catch radius. And now with Dak Prescott in this offense, we're seeing those things unlocked. And the smile I saw on his face during Monday Night Football says it all. This dude's happy to be where he is, and he's producing.
Yeah, it did not go well at the end in Pittsburgh. Swagoo, you know what did go well was how about the defense? Yeah. We talk. Look at that smile. Oh wow, I love it. They held Philly scoreless in the second half.
It was phenomenal. One, because I'm a big critic of Jerry Jones, but I said when he made this trade for Quentin Williams, it was going to change the dynamic. And the difference is, too, like, let's give Jadeveon Clowney a lot of credit, playing hard, chasing down people. Obviously, you guys mentioned Overshown. Logan Wilson has been really good for this football team as well. And now you're able to get pressure on quarterbacks. But the thing that stands out to me about this defense is that they play with confidence when they're running to the football. Like the Sam Williams forced fumble is phenomenal. This defense was so much maligned early in the season. And for these guys to continue to play hard, and now things are starting to open up. I'm a big firm believer in this, and I've said this a million times. I played next to DeMarcus Ware. It made me such a better football player.
Why?
One, because of the attention, but two, because that's the example of how everybody should play defense. And it just permeates throughout the locker room. Quentin on the interior is no coincidence that O.C. Odigizua has had these weeks
He was great
since
yesterday.
Quentin Williams has shown up. It matters to everybody. The linebackers' jobs are easier. Your opposite defensive tackle is easier. You're starting to see edge rushers get pressure. Dan, I saw you this morning. You showed it. One-on-one.
Collapsing the pocket.
Exactly. And you figure out if you can win. So I'm very proud of the way this defense played, being down 21 and still sticking to it. And I think it says a lot about who they are now as a unit.